1st April 1945, 8:30 hours, Higashi Beaches, Okinawa. The ramps dropped. 60,000 American troops braced for annihilation. Naval bombardment from 6 battleships had turned coastal defenses to rubble. Medical ships waited offshore, prepared for 25,000 casualties in 72 hours. Every lesson from Iwo Jima had been learned. Every beach was mapped as a killing zone. Commanders expected Okinawa to be the bloodiest landing of the Pacific War. The first Marines walked ashore standing upright. There was no fire, not a single machine gun, not one mortar round. The silence was absolute. Within hours, the entire invasion force controlled 16 miles of coastline without organized resistance. The most elaborate amphibious assault in history had landed against an enemy that refused to fight, yet. This was not surrender. It was the opening move of a trap. February-March 1945, Singpak headquarters, Guam. A red grease pencil circles Okinawa on the wall map. Admiral Chester W. Nimitz studies the island. It sits 340 miles from mainland Japan. Capturing it means airfields for B-29 bombers. It means a staging base for invasion. It means the end is measurable now in miles, not years. The operational order for Operation Iceberg covers 287 pages. Lieutenant General Simon Bolivar Buckner Jr. reads it carefully. His 10th Army comprises 183,000 combat troops. Vice Admiral Richmond K. Turner commands Task Force 51, over 1,300 warships. This is the largest amphibious force ever assembled. The Normandy invasion employed 156,000 troops on D-Day. Iceberg exceeds it in first-wave combat power alone. Every assumption is built on blood. Iwo Jima cost 26,000 American casualties in 36 days. Okinawa is 466 square miles compared to Iwo's 8. Intelligence projects catastrophic losses. The 10th Army Medical Staff prepares for 25,000 wounded in the first 72 hours alone. Blood plasma reserves are tripled. Hospital ships positioned close to the beaches. At Ulithi Atoll, logistics officers stockpile 6 million gallons of fuel and 500,000 artillery shells. The ammunition alone weighs 45,000 tons, enough for 30 days of maximum combat. Rations for 200,000 men for 45 days are staged. Medical supplies fill entire cargo holds. The G3 planning summary from February 1945 identifies annihilation zones on every landing beach. Staff officers mark terrain features where Japanese defenders will inflict maximum damage. Every slope is studied, mapped, and pre-targeted by naval guns. The bombardment plan calls for 7 days of continuous fire. 6 battleships will fire 16-inch main batteries. 10 cruisers add 8-inch guns. The total explosive weight exceeds entire World War I battles. The plan is perfect. The force is overwhelming. The assumption is universal. The Japanese will defend every inch of beach with suicidal ferocity. That assumption shapes everything. Naval bombardment schedules, medical resources, assault wave composition. Every element is designed for a bloodbath on the sand. The planning staff has studied Tarawa, where 1,000 Marines died in 72 hours. They analyzed Peleliu, where casualties exceeded 40% in some units. They dissected Iwo Jima, where every yard cost blood. The plan accounts for the worst. It prepares for catastrophe. The most detailed invasion plan in naval history was built on a single belief. The enemy would fight at the waterline. Every plan predicted annihilation zones on every beach. Not a single one existed. March 1945, Pearl Harbor, Photo Interpretation Unit. An intelligence officer slides a magnifying glass across reconnaissance photographs. High-altitude images show southern Okinawa in sharp detail. He marks suspected gun positions near Naha. He circles Shuri Fortress. The trenches near landing beaches appear oddly empty. Photo reconnaissance has been intensive. Aircraft have flown hundreds of missions. US naval intelligence has mapped 287 major coastal artillery pieces. 80% concentrate in the south. The pattern appears defensive, but static. The lack of beach activity suggests weakness. Perhaps months of bombardment broke Japanese will. Submarines patrol the waters, surfacing at night to observe. They report few lights, little movement. The island appears shocked into submission. Pre-invasion carrier strikes hit airfields repeatedly. The cumulative effect appears devastating. The photographs cannot penetrate limestone. They cannot detect disciplined silence. Photo interpreters identify surface features excellently, but they are blind to the invisible. The enemy understands those limits perfectly. 30 feet underground, Lieutenant General Mitsuru Ushijima confers with Colonel Izamu Cho, his aggressive chief of staff. Other officers argue for beach defense. Ushijima overrules them all. His order is radical. There will be no defense of the beaches. The 32nd Army comprises 100,000 troops, the 24th Division, 62nd Division, and independent brigades. They will not waste themselves in futile counterattacks. Instead, they will wait. Let the Americans commit fully. Let them celebrate victory. Only then will the real battle begin. Ushijima's strategy reflects Iwo Jima's lesson. Beach defenses were obliterated by naval gunfire. Fighting on the surface is suicide against American firepower. The only survival is underground. The only victory is through attrition. Miles of tunnels honeycomb the limestone ridges. Artillery sits in caves with 10 meters of rock overhead. Radio discipline is absolute. Not a single transmission betrays the 32nd Army's positions. The official war diary, dated 25th of March 1945, states, "The enemy's main force will be permitted to land. Delay engagement until the enemy extends his forces inland, exposing his flank and supply lines." American intelligence sees empty trenches and hears no radio chatter. They interpret silence as defeat. Confidence grows with every mission. The island appears weakly defended. Strategic planners discuss post-battle occupation. The battle is won before it begins. The Americans were watching a ghost army. The real force held its breath beneath the surface. Every soldier, every gun, every round, all invisible, all waiting. The absence of guns became the loudest warning signal of the campaign, and no one recognized it. The Karama Prelude 25-31, March 1945, Karama Reto Islands, west of Okinawa. Landing craft ramps drop into surf off Zamami Island. The 77th Infantry Division charges ashore. Resistance is immediate but scattered. Japanese naval troops fight from prepared positions. This is what invasion should feel like. This is a preliminary operation. The Karama Reto sits 15 miles west of Okinawa. Securing them provides protected anchorage for the invasion fleet. It also neutralizes suicide boats. The 77th Division sweeps methodically. The terrain is difficult. Rocky hills, dense vegetation. Each island must be secured separately. In coastal caves, soldiers discover over 350 Shinyo suicide craft. These plywood motorboats carry 600 pounds of explosives. Each is a one-way weapon designed to ram Allied ships. By 30th March, the entire group is secure. 18 protected anchorages are ready. American casualties, 31 killed, 121 wounded. Japanese defenders, over 530 killed. Seabees immediately construct piers, establish fuel storage, and position ammunition dumps. The seizure removes a significant threat. It provides critical anchorage. Most importantly, it reinforces American belief that they are methodically dismantling Japanese defenses. Each preliminary success builds confidence. The suicide boats, though numerous, are captured before use. This suggests poor enemy planning. Engineers work intensively, floating piers are positioned, fuel depots expand. The Karama Reto becomes a fully functional naval anchorage in less than a week. Over 150 ships will eventually use these facilities. With suicide boats captured and anchorage secured, commanders feel they have cleared immediate threats. They have prepared the stage perfectly. Everything confirms assumptions about Japanese weakness and American superiority. The Americans believed they had cleared the threat from the sea. The real storm, however, was gathering inland. H-hour at Higashi Fern, April 1945, 08:30 hours, Higashi Beaches, Okinawa. 1,300 LVTs churn through water. Landing vehicle, tracked, amphibious tractors crossing reefs and crawling onto beaches. Marines of the 1st and 6th Divisions crouch inside, 50 per vehicle. Soldiers of the 7th and 96th Divisions brace in adjacent sectors. Every man remembers briefings. 25,000 casualties projected. Naval bombardment has been overwhelming. For 7 days, warships pounded the coast. USS Tennessee fired over 3,000 rounds from main batteries. The explosive tonnage exceeds comprehension. Entire hillsides were reshaped. Every visible defensive position was targeted repeatedly. The first ramps drop at 08:30 hours precisely. Men surge forward, standing upright. They are walking. Combat veterans know this is wrong. There is no fire, not from machine guns, not from mortars, not from artillery. The beach is empty, pillboxes abandoned, trenches unmanned. On Iwo Jima, the first 2 hours cost 2,000 casualties. On Okinawa, men walk ashore without firing shots. They move past fortifications designed to kill them. Everything is silent, everything abandoned. Major General Roy Geiger watches from USS El Dorado offshore. His Marines advance at a steady walk. No suppressive fire needed, no flanking maneuvers. They simply walk across the island like a training exercise. Not a single Japanese soldier is visible. Geiger has commanded Marines since Guadalcanal. He knows what invasion looks like. This is unprecedented. The silence is eerie. Something is fundamentally wrong. But the landing continues. Waves keep coming. 60,000 men come ashore in the first hours across a 10-mile front. The naval bombardment was devastating in precision. 6 battleships, 10 cruisers, 177 destroyers. Fire shifted inland as landing craft approached. The guns fell silent at 8:10. Not one shore battery returned fire. The USS Tennessee log records ceased fire 8:10. Bombardment of landing beaches completed. No return fire observed from enemy shore batteries at any time. The unopposed landing establishes a massive beachhead instantly. Men move inland without resistance. Equipment flows ashore. Supply dumps grow. There is no chaos, no confusion. By noon, the beachhead is 3 miles deep, a Day 3 objective achieved in 4 hours. Assault reserves wait offshore, not needed. Heavy equipment rolls ashore. Artillery sets up without taking fire. Command posts are established. Communication lines are strung. Everything functions as planned except the enemy resistance that should make it impossible. By noon, 16 miles of coastline are in American hands. The island is cut in two. Planners estimated 3 days and heavy casualties. Instead, 4 hours with minimal losses. Medical ships sit with empty beds. Hospital facilities prepared for mass casualties remain unused. Casualty reports are surreal. First hour, 12 wounded, no killed. Second hour, 8 wounded, 1 in accident. By noon, 43 wounded, 2 killed. The numbers are incomprehensible for this scale. It was a flawless victory against an enemy that wasn't there. By noon, 16 miles of coastline were Allied held, with not a single instance of organized defense. 1 to 3rd of April 1945, Higashi Beachhead. LST bow doors grind open. M4A3 Sherman tanks rumble down ramps onto pontoon causeways. Each tank weighs 32 tons. They drive directly onto beach without getting tracks wet. Behind come M7 Priest howitzers, then ammunition trucks, then jeeps towing anti-tank guns. The flow is constant, mechanical, unstoppable. On other Pacific landings, supplies piled up under fire. Men died moving ammunition. Here, the logistical plan unfolds like factory automation. No enemy fire disrupts the flow. Beachmasters direct traffic with hand signals. Shore parties mark routes with white tape. Everything functions according to doctrine. Specialized amphibious equipment performs flawlessly. 430 LSTs act as mobile piers. 150 LSMs ferry vehicles continuously. 950 LCVPs shuttle infantry and cargo. DUKW amphibious trucks drive from transport ships across water directly to gun pits 3 miles inland. No transfer. No bottleneck. Navy Seabees from the 111th Construction Battalion work alongside Army engineers assembling pontoon piers. Within 24 hours, multiple piers are operational. Heavy equipment unloads around the clock. Cranes swing pallets. Forklifts move ammunition. The beach becomes a port. By 3rd April, the beachhead unloads 8,000 tons daily. Task Force 51 reports, no significant mechanical loss, sea state moderate, unloading proceeding ahead of schedule. In 3 days, 120,000 troops land. 650 tanks and armored vehicles come ashore. 45,000 tons of ammunition is stockpiled. Fuel dumps hold millions of gallons. A complete military infrastructure is created without losing a single transport ship. Quartermaster units establish supply dumps by category. Medical supplies, food, ammunition separated by type. Every item catalogued. Every pallet has a destination. Artillery batteries are ashore and registered on targets within 36 hours. Medical facilities establish in multiple echelons. The entire system prepares for mass casualties that never materialize. A British liaison officer writes, "The Americans have reduced amphibious warfare to industrial process. The organization exceeds anything previously attempted." It was the largest amphibious supply operation in history. It ran on perfect clockwork. The largest amphibious train in history ran on clockwork. against an enemy that refused to clock in. The American Skype won April 1945, airspace over Okinawa. From an F-4U Corsair cockpit, a Marine pilot looks down at the invasion fleet. The sea is packed with ships forming a grid of grey steel stretching to the horizon. Battleships, carriers, cruisers, destroyers, transports. The largest naval concentration in history, the pilot can see hundreds from 12,000 feet. The sky around him is crowded with friendly aircraft. Fighters patrol at multiple altitudes. Dive bombers circle, ready for support missions. The air is American, completely, without contest. Planners anticipated massive kamikaze attacks. Off the Philippines in October 1944, suicide planes inflicted devastating losses. USS Princeton was sunk, multiple vessels damaged. Casualties exceeded 1,000 in single days. Okinawa should trigger maximum response. The fleet expected hell from above. Combat air patrol was scheduled in overlapping layers. Radar picket destroyers positioned 50 miles out provided early warning. Every gun crew at battle stations. The sky was supposed to be a chaotic battleground. Instead, it was an American lake. Task Force 58 under Vice Admiral Mitchell provides the air umbrella. 11 fleet carriers and 6 light carriers carry over 1,000 aircraft. F-6F Hellcats, F-4U Corsairs, SB-2C Helldivers, TBM Avengers. On L-Day alone, they fly 1,366 sorties. During the entire day, only 15 Japanese interceptors rise to challenge. American fighters shoot down 12 immediately. The remaining 3 flee. No coordinated defense. No massed attack. The anticipated kamikaze wave never comes. Mitchell's dispatch to Sinpak that evening. Enemy air reaction over objective minimal throughout the day. A most unusual restraint noted. Sortie count exceeds 300 with insignificant opposition. Total air supremacy allows landing without threat from above. It creates perception throughout the fleet. Japanese air power appears broken. Months of carrier strikes apparently destroyed their capacity. The cumulative damage eliminated organized resistance. The sky remains American throughout L-Day. Not a single transport hit. Not one landing craft attacked. Not one American aircraft lost to enemy action. Troops advance without fear of strafing. The absence of opposition confirms impending victory. For one day, the sky belonged completely to Americans. It was a gift from an enemy waiting for more valuable targets to gather in one place. The sky was American because the Japanese chose not to contest it yet. Securing the airfields stood April 1945, Yont and Kadena airfields. Marines of the 1st Division advance across Kadena airfield. Boots echo on concrete. Runways show bombardment scars. Hangars stand largely intact. Control towers undamaged. Fuel tanks sit full and undefended. Everything completely abandoned. Not a single defender. Not one booby trap. On Guadalcanal, securing Henderson Field required months of savage fighting. At Iwo Jima, the airfield was a bloodbath. On Okinawa, 2 strategic airfields fall in 24 hours without resistance. They are the primary campaign objectives. They fall like ripe fruit. A combat engineer from the 1902nd Engineer Aviation Battalion begins immediate work. Bulldozers fill craters. Graders smooth surfaces. Work proceeds rapidly without enemy interference. The capture represents massive strategic victory. Land-based aircraft can now operate from Okinawa. Fighters fly longer missions. Bombers strike Japan with shorter turnaround. Carriers are relieved of constant patrol. A permanent airbase is established 340 miles from Kyushu. Within 24 hours, the first C-47 lands on Kadena on the 3rd of April. The airfield is functional. By 4 April, both fields are operational. P-47 Thunderbolts and Marine Corsairs deploy forward. Ground crews set up revetments. The transformation is complete in 72 hours. The swift capture proves American operational excellence. Core objectives are achieved ahead of schedule. The bloodless capture confirms Japanese resistance has collapsed. Strategic discussions begin about using Okinawa as the invasion base for Japan. In 36 hours, America owned 2 functional bomber bases on Japanese territory. Modern facilities, well constructed, perfectly positioned, captured without a fight. In 36 hours, America owned 2 operational runways built on a foundation of silence. The Invisible Enemy, 3 to 4, April 1945, Central Okinawa. An American patrol moves cautiously through a village, tile-roofed houses, small gardens, a Buddhist shrine, everything deserted. Houses sit empty with doors open. Cooking pots remain on cold fires, rice bowls abandoned mid-meal. The population simply vanished. The patrol clears each building methodically. They find no one. Not soldiers, not civilians, just scattered equipment, discarded helmets, empty ammunition crates, the debris of withdrawal. On every other Pacific island, advance from beachhead was measured in yards. Each yard cost blood. Here, American units advance miles daily. The 1st Marine Division moves north. The 7th Infantry Division pushes south. Every unit reports minimal contact, no main defensive line. The Japanese 32nd Army seems vanished. The 1st Marines reach the east coast on 3rd of April. They crossed the entire island in 3 days. This was a Day 10 objective achieved on Day 3. The night passes quietly. No infiltration, no mortar attacks, just silence. General Ushijima receives reports in his Shuri command cave. American forces split the island. They control both coasts. His officers want to counterattack. Colonel Cho proposes a night attack on supply dumps. Ushijima holds them back. No counterattacks. Let the Americans advance. The real battle begins when they reach prepared positions. The 32nd Army War Diary records, General Ushijima addressed commanders, ordered continuation of defensive preparations, stated, let them come deeper, let them stretch their lines. Their strength will become their weakness when they meet our true positions. Reconnaissance reports to 10th Army headquarters are baffling. Intelligence cannot locate the main Japanese force. Patrols find abandoned positions everywhere. The entire army seems to have disappeared. Aerial reconnaissance shows no major movements. Signal intelligence detects minimal radio traffic. The lack of resistance creates strategic overconfidence. Units are reallocated for mopping up. The 6th Marines are directed to clear northern Okinawa. Combat divisions begin administrative advance without extensive reconnaissance. Supply lines lengthen. Units spread out. The formation becomes less concentrated. The 10th Army advanced against a vacuum. They moved exactly where the enemy wanted. Every mile was welcomed. Every convoy was observed from hidden positions. The Japanese watched everything, waiting, calculating the perfect moment. The quiet wasn't surrender, it was an invitation. 4 April 1945, General Buckner's observation post, Okinawa. General Buckner looks through binoculars at rolling hills to the south. His forces control a third of the island. Both airfields are operational. Port facilities at Naha are within reach. The campaign is dramatically ahead of schedule. Buckner is a professional soldier from a military family. He understands warfare. He has studied military history. The current situation defies all historical precedent. Something is wrong, or extraordinarily right. He cannot determine which. Casualty reports sit on his desk. In 4 days, the 10th Army suffered 278 killed and 1,200 wounded. Projections had been for 12,000 casualties in 72 hours. The actual figure is 6% of that projection. Medical facilities are underutilized. Hospital ships report empty surgical theaters. Blood plasma remains unused. This is unprecedented. Buckner drafts a telegram to Nimitz. Opposition has been surprisingly light. Enemy appears to have withdrawn main forces to the southern sector. Speed of advance exceeds all expectations. Both primary airfields secured and operational. Casualties remarkably light. Situation developing favorably. The telegram reflects prevailing mood. Victory appears certain. The campaign appears nearly over. Discussion shifts to occupation duties. Civil affairs officers prepare to administer territory. Plans are drafted for military government. The battle seems effectively won. Simultaneously, something strange appears in intelligence reports. Radio intercepts reveal an anomaly. The Japanese 32nd Army has filed no significant casualty reports to Tokyo. No requests for reinforcement. No reports of equipment loss. Radio traffic is minimal. An army under assault should be screaming for help, instead silence. Not the silence of an army destroyed, but an army not engaged. An army waiting. Intelligence officers note the discrepancy but cannot explain it. The prevailing narrative is too strong. Aerial reconnaissance shows no major movements. Signal intelligence detects minimal traffic. The Japanese are either not using radios or under strict discipline. The silence is interpreted as weakness rather than discipline. The narrative solidifies. Official reports are optimistic. News correspondents file stories about rapid progress. The American press publishes headlines celebrating victory. The public welcomes news of easy victory. Political leaders are relieved. Focus shifts to consolidation. Units reposition for mopping up. Reserves are held back. Engineers focus on infrastructure improvement rather than combat support. Artillery moves forward aggressively. Security is minimal because threat is perceived as negligible. The American front line represented stunning operational success, a neat line. Precise, measurable, a testament to American power. The American advance line sat 10 miles north of the real front line. The army beneath the ground 4 to 5 April 1945, Shuri Command Caves. A Japanese artillery officer uses a periscope extending through camouflaged rock. He calmly calls coordinates to a gun crew deep inside limestone. They calibrate firing zones, road junctions, hillsides, assembly areas, everything the Americans will use. Every grid square pre-registered. The gun crew responds. A Type 92 105mm howitzer sits on wooden platform inside the cave, positioned to fire through a masked opening. The gun can fire then withdraw to avoid counter-battery. The position is sophisticated and nearly invulnerable. While American engineers bulldoze airfields, Japanese engineers underground have completed a fortress. Iwo Jima's 100,000 troops are not scattered. They are concentrated in the most formidable defensive complex of the Pacific War. Over 60 miles of tunnels connect key positions, from Shuri Castle to Yonabaru Port, from ridge to ridge, gun position to command post. The network is extensive. Troops move underground, invisible to aircraft, immune to bombardment. Main tunnels are wide enough for vehicles. Ammunition storage is protected by meters of rock. Command posts are deep underground with multiple entrances. Ventilation provides fresh air. Communication lines run through tunnels. The 32nd Army can fight, maneuver, and resupply entirely underground. Hospital facilities are established in large caves, surgical theaters set up, supplies stockpiled. The wounded can be treated underground, protected. Living quarters are carved into limestone. Sleeping areas, food storage, water collection. Soldiers can survive underground for extended periods. 80% of Japanese heavy artillery is hidden in caves. 155mm howitzers, 120mm mortars, anti-tank guns, each position protected by over 10 meters of limestone. Even 16-inch naval shells cannot penetrate. The weapons are invulnerable. They will reveal themselves only when targets are perfectly positioned. The defensive plan is sophisticated. The Japanese will not contest the advance until Americans reach the main line anchored on Shuri. This line incorporates natural terrain, ridges, reverse slopes, everything chosen for defensive advantage. The advance will stop. The attrition battle will begin. This subterranean network absorbed the pre-invasion bombardment without significant losses. Hundreds of thousands of shells pulverized the surface. The 32nd Army underground remained unharmed. When bombardment lifted, they observed from hidden positions. They saw the landing. They saw the rapid advance. They made no move. Every soldier understood the plan. American intelligence completely failed to detect this fortress. Photo reconnaissance shows surface only. Signal intelligence hears nothing. The Americans see empty trenches and interpret defeat. They are looking at the surface of a trap. The island's quiet crust hid an entire army, alive and waiting beneath it. Signals from the south 5-6 April 1945, Fleet Radio Unit Pacific, FRU-PAC, Pearl Harbor. A naval intelligence officer in Hawaii stares at a decoded message. A JN-25 intercept, Japan's most secure naval code. American cryptanalysts broke it in 1942. This message is an activation order. Specific, detailed, unmistakable. The message initiates Operation 10 Go, the heavenly operation. It identifies participating units, specifies timing, confirms targets. This is an execution order. Something massive is about to happen. For 5 days, radio traffic has been quiet. Now American listening posts detect a massive surge. Coded messages pour from Kyushu air bases. The volume is unprecedented, the urgency unmistakable. The pattern suggests massive preparation. The intercepts reveal a coordinated attack to destroy the American fleet. The super battleship Yamato will sortie on a one-way mission. She carries fuel only for the voyage south, not return. She will beach on Okinawa and use her 18.1-inch guns as coastal artillery until destroyed. Simultaneously, kamikaze waves will strike. The intercepts identify units. The 5th Air Fleet, the 6th Air Fleet, naval and army air groups, every available aircraft committed. This is orchestrated assault designed to annihilate the fleet. Cryptanalysts work through the night. They decode tactical orders revealing operational details. They identify units and count aircraft. 355 aircraft are massing at kamikaze bases: Kanoya, Chiran, Kushira. Additional aircraft at secondary fields. Total force exceeds 400, most designated for suicide missions. Messages include target priorities. Primary targets are transports and cargo ships. Secondary targets are escort carriers. The strategy is to sink transports and destroy supplies. Cut the 10th Army from reinforcement. Starve the invasion force. Tactical messages reveal timeline. Launch windows, approach routes. Attack scheduled for dawn on 6th of April. Aircraft will launch in waves to maintain continuous pressure. The goal is to overwhelm defenses through numbers. Acceptable loss rate is 100%. Every aircraft is expendable. Pacific Fleet Intelligence Bulletin number 97 is issued late on 5th of April. Urgent, distributed to all ships. It warns major suicide attack is imminent. Notes massing aircraft, provides estimated timing, recommends maximum alert. Admiral Turner orders all ships to Condition 1, maximum alert. Transports disperse if possible. Destroyer pickets are reinforced. Additional fighters launch. The fleet prepares. This intelligence marks the end of the phony war phase. The 5 days of calm are over. The Japanese strategy is clear. They sacrificed beaches and airfields. They let Americans land unopposed. They waited for the fleet to anchor and concentrate. Now they will strike. The trap was never on beaches. The real target was always the fleet. Vulnerable, concentrated, unable to maneuver, perfect targets for mass kamikaze attack. The next sunrise would bring 355 planes and the sudden, violent return of fire. The Storm Breaks, Chapter 12, Secured but Not Safe, 4th April 1945, Higashi Logistics Zone. A Navy corpsman treats a soldier for heat exhaustion. In the first week, more men report for non-combat ailments than combat wounds. Malaria, heat stroke, dysentery. The medical staff treats routine cases. The atmosphere is almost peaceful. The logistics zone stretches for miles. 120,000 troops are ashore. Supply dumps are organized and expanding. Fuel depots are full. Ammunition stockpiled. Naval gunfire ships have expended over 500,000 shells. The beachhead is secure, bustling, and completely undefended from the air. The first War Department field report arrives in Washington. It contains historic understatement. Never has so large an amphibious force been landed and supplied with so little immediate loss to the enemy. The report is celebrated. It confirms American military superiority. It validates invasion strategy. It suggests the Pacific War is entering its final phase. Japanese resistance appears broken. Victory appears inevitable. The report is shared with the White House. President Truman is briefed. After 5 days against a supposedly fanatical enemy, the 10th Army suffered fewer than 300 killed and 1,500 wounded. These are numbers for minor engagement, not major campaign. Medical evacuation by air has begun. The system works efficiently because patient load is manageable. The same report contains a warning on page 17. Written in passive voice, intelligence reports indicate unlocated and unengaged enemy concentrations of considerable strength in the southern sector. Disposition and strength remain unclear. Main defensive positions have not been identified. This warning is prophetic, but the language is bureaucratic. It does not convey urgency. Commanders focus on success in opening pages. The warning is filed and forgotten. The landing success created vulnerability. Vast ship concentrations fill the waters. Hundreds of vessels anchored in predictable locations. Stationary, unable to maneuver quickly. Supplies stacked on beaches. Thousands of tons of ammunition. Fuel dumps, all concentrated, all visible, all perfect targets. The fleet is more vulnerable now than during assault. During landing, ships were moving. Air patrols were intense, defenses at maximum alert. Now, 5 days later, urgency has faded. Ships are anchored, crews rotate through rest, alert level is reduced. This is sustainable but dangerous. The landing phase would be studied for decades, a model of planning and execution, a testament to American excellence. The operation succeeded beyond optimistic projections. Everything worked, everything succeeded. On paper, it was perfect. The landing phase closed as a record success. On paper only. 6th of April 1945, 07:15 hours, East China Sea, Radar Picket Station 1. On the radar screen of destroyer USS Bush, dozens of contacts suddenly appear. The green glow fills with blips. moving fast from the northeast. The radar operator's voice is urgent. CIC to bridge. Bogies, many bogies, bearing 440 range 80 miles, angels high. Count exceeds 50, more appearing. This is a major raid. The quiet skies vanish. A storm of aircraft appears on radar screens across the fleet. This is not a raid. This is an onslaught. Operators count and lose track. 50, 70, 100. More keep appearing. The first Kikusui floating chrysanthemum attack has begun. General quarters sounds, klaxons wail, men run to battle stations, gun crews charge weapons, ammunition handlers break open lockers. The fleet transitions to combat readiness in minutes. Every man knows his station. The fleet is ready, but nothing prepares for what is coming. At dawn, 355 kamikaze and conventional aircraft took off from Kyushu bases. They formed over the sea, climbed to altitude, set course for Okinawa. Many pilots are young, barely trained. They are sufficient for this mission. Kamikaze pilots need only reach target and dive. The Japanese strategy is sophisticated. Conventional fighters will engage combat air patrol. Dive bombers will strike ships, forcing maneuvers. Then kamikazes attack in waves, exploiting confusion. Primary targets are picket destroyers. Destroy them, and the fleet is blind. USS Bush engages first. As aircraft close to 30 miles, she opens fire with 5-inch guns. Proximity-fused shells explode near aircraft. Some fall, others keep coming. Combat air patrol scrambles but is outnumbered. The fight is desperate. Bush fights with discipline. Gun crews track targets. Fire rapidly, score hits, enemy aircraft fall, but there are too many. A zero damage turns toward Bush suicide dive. 40mm Bofors fire streams of shells. The aircraft is hit repeatedly. It keeps coming. It crashes amidships, exploding inside. The ship shudders. Fire erupts. The damage is severe. Minutes later, another kamikaze hits. The explosion is catastrophic. Bush's back breaks. She begins sinking. The crew abandons in good order. Bush sinks quickly. Rescue ships move in, but are under attack. USS Colhoun moves to assist, following naval tradition. As she approaches, she becomes target. Multiple kamikazes attack. She shoots down several. Others hit. Explosions tear through the ship. Colhoun also sinks. 2 destroyers lost in the first hour. The radar picket line is shattered. Attacks continue throughout the day. Wave after wave, the sky fills with aircraft. Anti-aircraft fire creates a wall of steel. American fighters intercept and destroy dozens. But numbers are overwhelming. Some always get through. They dive with single-minded determination. Within 48 hours, 26 Allied ships are hit. 14 damaged severely. 3 sink. In the first major kamikaze assault, 490 American sailors are killed, over 700 wounded, many burned, many drowned. The easy invasion is over. The attack shatters every illusion. The peaceful advance becomes irrelevant. The captured airfield's meaningless if the fleet is destroyed. Victory on land is impossible without naval support. The campaign transforms instantly into brutal dual-front war, grinding attrition on land, desperate survival at sea. The Japanese strategy is finally clear to everyone. They sacrificed beaches deliberately, surrendered airfields willingly, allowed unopposed landing. All was bait, all designed to concentrate American forces. On land, they built an impregnable fortress. At sea, they launched suicide waves. The goal was not to prevent invasion. That was impossible. The goal was to make its cost unbearable. The quiet landing of L-Day rewrote amphibious warfare rules. It demonstrated traditional defenses were obsolete against overwhelming firepower. It proved American logistics could achieve the impossible. It showed proper planning could minimize assault casualties. All of this was true. All entered military history. But the true cost of Operation Iceberg was just beginning. The easy landing was the exception. The 5 days of peace were anomaly. The silence was temporary. The real Battle of Okinawa, 82 days of grinding attrition on land and desperate survival at sea, was just starting. Casualties would eventually exceed 50,000 American killed and wounded. Japanese casualties would exceed 100,000 military deaths, plus tragic civilian losses. Naval losses would be the highest of any campaign. The quiet landing of Loveday had rewritten the rules of amphibious warfare, but its true cost was just beginning to appear on the horizon. To be continued. The storm over Okinawa was only the beginning. The sea would soon burn. The skies would turn black with ash and flame. Next, Yamato's last voyage. The final charge of the largest battleship ever built. Like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter in this brutal story of courage, sacrifice, and the price of victory.